What drives me? People ask me that all the time. The answer is surprisingly simple. I've always been terrified of wasting time. My name is Bill Gates, and this story isn't really about computers. It's about curiosity, intense focus, and a sense of responsibility. I was born in Seattle, back in 1955, into a family that truly valued hard work, constant learning, and dinner conversations that felt more like high-stakes debates. My dad was a lawyer, and my mum was a civic leader. They never pushed me towards technology. What they pushed me towards was thinking critically, deeply, and relentlessly. Everything changed when I was 13. My school got a computer terminal, one of the very first in the city. For me, it was love at first line of code. I found myself sneaking out of bed in the middle of the night, drawn to the glow of the screen, just to keep programming. It was never about money or fame. It was about control, the pure, exhilarating ability to make a machine obey a thought. In high school, I met someone who saw the world the same way I did, Paul Allen. He was a few years older, but we spoke the same language binary. We spent countless hours together hacking, building, breaking things, and then rebuilding them better. We shared a wild dream of a world where every single person could own their own computer. Back in the 1970s, that idea sounded completely insane to most people. Then, one day, we saw the first Altair 8800 on the cover of a magazine. It felt like destiny, printed in ink. We knew we had to be a part of it. We called the company we wanted to start Microsoft, a simple combination of microprocessors and software. It wasn't poetic, but it turned out to be history just waiting to happen. I made the decision to drop out of Harvard to chase that dream. As you can imagine, my parents were disappointed. They had different plans for me, but I tried to explain it to them. If I don't do this right now, someone else will. The opportunity was too big to ignore. We started small, renting a tiny office in Albuquerque, New Mexico. We lived on takeout food and spent days on end debugging code without any sleep. But our mission was crystal clear. We wanted to make software that anyone, and I mean anyone, could use. We were on a mission to democratize computing. And then came the moment that changed everything. IBM, the giant of the industry, needed an operating system for their new personal computer. The thing is, we didn't have one. Not even close. But I stood in that meeting and promised them we would deliver. It was a huge risk. We went out and licensed a program called QDOS, which stood for Quick and Dirty Operating System. We refined it, improved it, and renamed it MS-DOS. And with that, history turned a corner. Suddenly, Microsoft was at the absolute center of a technological revolution. The world was shifting from giant mainframes to personal desktops, and I had a front row seat. We weren't just writing lines of code anymore. We felt like we were building the foundations of a new digital civilization. After MS-DOS came Windows. This was our vision for making computers truly human. A graphical interface with icons you could click, windows you could drag, and files you could drop. It was all about hiding immense complexity behind a veil of simplicity. Within a decade, Windows wasn't just a product, it became a universal language spoken by billions of people around the globe. But that level of success comes at a cost. The press and our competitors started calling us ruthless. Looking back, they weren't entirely wrong. I was intense, probably too intense at times. Where my competitors saw a tyrant, I just saw a perfectionist who couldn't stand the idea of settling for good enough. I believe that if you genuinely want to change the world, you can't be afraid of being misunderstood. Still, I made my share of mistakes. We faced antitrust battles, dealt with bad PR, and my own ego got in the way more than once. Those tough years taught me a valuable lesson. Winning isn't everything. Enduring is what truly matters. By the year 2000, Microsoft was a global empire. But I started asking myself harder, more profound questions. What is the real point of all this success if it doesn't make life better for other people? That's when I decided to begin my second act, not as a CEO, but as a full-time philanthropist. I stepped down from my day-to-day role at Microsoft to focus on problems that are far more complex than any software bug. the core challenges of humanity. Through the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, we took on malaria, extreme poverty, broken education systems, and the lack of clean water. Technology had connected the world, but now, I wanted to use a similar mindset to help save lives. I quickly learned that eradicating a disease requires the exact same approach as debugging a complex program. You test your theory, you fail, you learn from that failure, you iterate on your approach, and eventually, you succeed. It's a relentless cycle of improvement. In 2020, when the pandemic hit, the world suddenly started paying attention to the very things I had been warning about for decades. People started calling me a prophet. I'm not. I'm just a man who reads a lot of data and tries to connect the dots. I don't believe in miracles. I believe in preparation. And if there's one thing I've learned through all of this, it's this. The greatest innovation isn't technology, it's empathy. It's the ability to see the world from another person's perspective and feel compelled to act. When I look back at my life, I don't see lines of code. I see people. I see the incredible teams who worked with me to build what seemed impossible. I see the students who were able to learn and create because of the tools Microsoft built. And I see the children who are alive today because of the vaccines our foundation helped deliver. We used to think technology was all about power. Now, I know it's about purpose. Today, I spend most of my time thinking about the next great challenges: clean energy, climate change, and what kind of planet we're going to leave for future generations. We can't code our way out of every problem, but we can definitely think our way through them. Because at the end of the day, innovation is only as good as the world it serves. So to every young person watching this right now, don't just chase success, chase usefulness. Find a problem that matters and dedicate yourself to solving it. The world doesn't need more billionaires. It needs more builders, more teachers, more healers, more innovators. I'm Bill Gates, and my goal wasn't just to make computers smarter. It was to help humanity catch up. Thank you for listening to my story. If this resonated with you, please consider liking this video and subscribing to the channel for more content like this. We'll see you in the next one.